Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 2 of MALF's Old House. Finally, if you watched the first one and you're wondering what the heck is taking so long for the second one, been busy, been trying to juggle a lot of stuff, and also I've just had like a lot of issues in my attempt to film this. Trying to be better about it, but I also tend to like try to make things too perfect, and I gotta, you know, I'm trying to go with the new saying, perfect is the enemy of good, or good enough. So, anyways, we're getting there, and I'm sorting out all the technical issues, so that's cool. So yeah, again, thank you for the support on the first episode. It's, something different than the typical video I would have traditionally put up on the channel. So it's nice to see people kind of excited and kind of into the whole idea and being very supportive too. So I appreciate that, and hopefully these episodes will become more frequent for sure. And also probably, shorter and more focused. But right now, last episode and this one, kind of a whole hodgepodge of stuff to go over. So hope you don't mind, because that's the way it's going to be. So yeah, and before we get into the meat of this episode, another couple of administrative notes. One, I'm working on formatting, structuring these episodes a little bit. Ones like this in particular, where we're kind of all over the place, covering a lot of different topics. I don't want it to be just purely just a, I don't even know what the word is, a hodgepodge of just like nonsense. So hopefully, by implementing a few kind of categories, high level categories, it'll help me make this better, and it'll be easier to follow along with too. So that said, of course, I'm always open to feedback and suggestions for that kind of stuff. But we'll be going through a few categories in a bit. And the other thing is just quality in general of the videos. Video quality, I hope to improve. Right now I'm using my Sony a6300, which is a camera I've had for a while, and I predominantly use it for streaming. Like, I use it as a stream camera. But it's a good camera on its own for just shooting video and taking photos and other stuff. So I figured I'd use it for this. That said, Sony kind of has some issues with overheating when it comes to taking videos and longer videos. So I've lost a lot of footage just trying to shoot this episode in the past few weeks. And when you spend a couple hours doing stuff and then you realize like you've lost footage, it's just like you save that for another day. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we've sorted that stuff out. And then audio quality as well. I'm using a lavalier mic because the standard mic on this camera is not going to be good, and I don't really want to order another one when I've got a perfectly good microphone. And the lavalier mic, I can use it for all the audio, so it's kind of consistent. So when we're up and about and I'm using my iPhone, we'll have the same audio, which is kind of nice to me when I watch videos, and the audio quality, just not even necessarily quality as in like good or bad, but it just like it's noticeably different when you switch from one camera to another. So yeah. So that's it. That's the administrative ramble. Let's get into the meat of the video. Okay, so first category I've come up with, which I think will be a very common recurring theme in these videos, is efficiency and automation. I lump them together, but really there's going to be a lot of things I want to do with the house that will improve its efficiency. And automation, not so much of like me being lazy, like I don't want to go and get automatic roller blinds or anything like that, but just automation in terms of like actually improving the efficiency, right? Like a lot of things, machines are computers, AI, whatever you want to call it, will be better at being efficient than I can. So that's this kind of first thing, and I'm looking to, over the coming years, just improve general efficiency of a lot of stuff for the house, and that'd be nice, because when you do that, you tend to save money and effort and time and all that good stuff. So that's a focus and something I'm trying to jump on sooner rather than later, because the sooner we make those changes, the more we save in the long run, right? So first thing that falls under that category is a smart thermostat. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can, because if you can't see this, you can't see my face. Anyways, it's the Ecobee smart thermostat. There's a few different models that Ecobee puts out. This is kind of their top tier one, and then of course there's other brands as well. Did a bit of research and kind of settled on this one, because it seemed like overall it was one of the better products. You could say, you know, the Google Nest one might be better for this or that, and there's some other options that might be better for other categories, but this one seemed to be a pretty good overall, and recommended by a lot of reviewers and whatnot. So the reason I want to get this, and it falls under the efficiency and automation category, because the old one I had was an Emerson brand. I mean, it technically worked fine, but it was a dumb thermostat. So this is really cool, because it's got schedules, and it'll automate changing the temperature based on that. It ties into kind of like real world current information, like you know, what the weather is where I am, and it can use that information to balance things in the house. It'll tie into the cost of gas and electricity, so it can heat the house or cool the house during off-peak hours. So essentially, you don't want to be heating your home when the cost of electricity and gas is highest, because then it's going to cost you a lot. So it will understand when those on-peak and off-peak hours are, and it can kind of warm the house up a little bit before or even after, whatever it is. So neat little features like that. And I don't need to be coming down every couple hours and manually increasing or decreasing the temperature, or shutting things off, right? So it's just nice to do that. And it has some other features, of course. It's got a little kind of dongle you can carry around with you in the room that you're actively in. So I'll get some footage of that stuff. The actual setup, you know, that's something I ideally would have wanted to get footage of as well. But, you know, I was doing it with, while my parents were here, and, you know, I like to keep their lives private, so I didn't get footage of it. But the one trick with this was, you know, this is an older house, and the furnace and the thermostat have been around for a while. They're not, like, as old as the house, but still. They, there's a bunch of wires. Without getting too technical, when you take off the old one, there's like, depending on what wires they have, you need to follow specific instructions setting up the Ecobee. So it'll be like, if you have a G wire, turn to page whatever, and then start following this. And then if not, you know, continue on this page or turn to this page, right? So there's like a RCH wire, a G wire, W1 wire, Y1, I don't know. There's a bunch of different stuff, but there also, I needed to upgrade. This has like it's like a power extender dongle, and that requires going down to the furnace itself. You unplug those same wires that are on this end, and then in line, you basically insert the this power extender dongle, and then hook it up to the control board in the control panel in the furnace itself. So it's all like, it's more daunting at first when you're looking at all these steps, but it was pretty simple once you just take it one step at a time. and it's always nice having somebody else there watching your back too and double checking your work. But it was pretty straightforward. And the reason you need the extender kit is just because this, again, it's smart thermostat. It does a lot more stuff, and I guess it needs a little bit more power. But so far, it's been great. So this is the thermostat, the Ecobee here, and you can see, it's pretty slick looking. Don't mind the areas behind. You can see this is basically the footprint of the old thermostat. So this will get cleaned up though, but because I'm painting this room and all that soon, I just have left it. So I know it's an eyesore, but it'll be fixed soon enough. But yeah, this is I'm liking it so far after a few weeks of having this set up. You can kind of see right now. Well, this is the temperature, obviously. The slider on the right can change it, and it'll even say 21 until 11:30 p.m. So this has 3 different default schedules you can do. One is like daytime, one is nighttime, or like when you're sleeping, and then one is also for away. So you can say like, hey, I'm away, and it'll go to a different temperature setting, right? Or if you're here and it's during the day, it'll be one temperature, and then if you're here at nighttime, it'll still drop it, but because you're asleep, you don't really notice that it's a bit cooler. So just good ways to save energy. But the reason it says 21 until 11:30 p.m. is because I said, normally it's at 22 during the day. So if I close that out, it says resuming your schedule, so it's back to 22. But I can set it to 21. Of course, I can change it so it's always 21 during the day by default or whatever. And then the 11:30 p.m. is, oopsies, just when that switches over to the nighttime, the sleepy time schedule. So that I should probably push back because I definitely don't go to bed before midnight. But it's pretty neat. I'm not going to go through the menu too much, but it'll even, tell you, the temperature outside and all that kind of stuff. And it has a voice. You can do like phone calls and stuff on it if you really want to. Not something I'm too interested in, but there's that. And then, as well, this is the little dongle that it comes with. You can buy more of these and get them set up. But basically, this has little sensors, and you can even mount these on the wall too if you want. But this, you just set it in whatever room you're actively in, and it'll maintain the temperature that you have set on the thermostat based on this and not the sensors that are on the thermostat itself. So if I'm upstairs where it tends to be a bit warmer, it'll make sure this thing isn't kicking on, more to maintain the temperature down here where it's a bit cooler, if that makes sense. So if it's 22 degrees down here, it'll be 23, maybe even 24 upstairs. So by bringing this little dongle with me when I'm up there in my office, streaming and all that kind of stuff, this will make sure that it's 22 degrees up there, and nice and comfortable. So yeah, there's that, and let's go take a look at the thermostat setup, or how it's hooked up into the furnace downstairs. All right, don't mind the mess of wires, but this is basically inside the furnace. The control panel, control board is down here. So basically, with the the Ecobee and probably some other current thermostats, they require more power. So this is the power extender kit that I was talking about. This comes with the Ecobee, and basically these wires at the bottom are the wires coming from the thermostat upstairs. So by default, these wires would have connected right in here. So instead, you basically unplug them, plug them into the power extender kit, and then you've got this cable coming from it that goes into the actual control board of the furnace. So So now you've got a little bit of extra power for the thermostat, and you're also getting everything hooked up to the furnace and can take advantage of the new thermostat features and all that. So it looks, maybe a little intimidating when you're first kind of trying to do all this stuff, but the manual was pretty straightforward, step by step, and so yeah, there you go. And it's been working like a charm ever since. The next thing in the realm of efficiency is a new washer and dryer set. Originally, I had the washer and dryer that the previous owner had left here, and the dryer worked, the washer kind of worked, but actually turns out didn't really work. But that was fine because I was going to get the washer and dryer that my parents were getting rid of. They moved into a new house, but they had newer washer and dryer sets, so they were getting rid of the ones that the previous owners of their house had left. So I was going to take those, but it turns out those machines were only a year or two newer than the ones I had here. And so I decided, you know what? This is the first time in my life I don't need to share a washer and dryer with anybody. It's questionable if the ones my parents were getting rid of even worked or worked very well, and certainly weren't that efficient. The ones downstairs certainly weren't efficient, and the washer didn't work. So we got a new washer and dryer. It's LG brand, and I've been happy with so far. So we'll go take a look downstairs, and I'll show you what we got. Okay, here we are. Don't mind the mess and general ugliness of the laundry setup, but this is the washer and dryer I was talking about, the LGs. Had them well over a month at this point, and been a happy customer. Both are working well, doing their job, and certainly more efficient than the previous ones. So this is the dryer here. Again, when I was doing research, LG is generally a reputable brand, and when I was talking to a lot of different reps at, different places, your Home Depots and Lowe's and local appliance shops, they basically, the common thing I found was that LG was mostly kind of like a nice overall appliance choice, right? Like, they might not be like the best for any particular category necessarily, but they were well regarded in like all categories, whether it's dishwashers, fridges, stoves, washer dryers and stuff like that. They're pretty consistent, which I like, and I appreciate that sort of thing. So, but yeah, the dryer here, nothing too fancy to look at necessarily. I went with white because you save money, and versus going with like a black or a charcoal or some of the fancier looking colors, which is fine if you want that. Maybe if you have your washer dryer upstairs, some people do, and you look at them more often, you want them to look nicer, but since they're down here, this is totally fine by me. Knob feel was something that was kind of important to me when I was actually going out and looking at a lot of the models in person. The model here this model, the knob just felt, better than some, surprisingly. And same, especially the door. The door's got some good heft to it. It doesn't feel iffy, shoddy, like some of the other ones I did. When you open them or close them, it was almost like, did I close it all the way, or is it gonna fall off if I pull on it too hard? So yeah, I very, very happy with the doors. And this is the washer here, again, similar look and design and all that kind of stuff. I like this model. If we can show, not all of them have it, but this is basically like if you have like small keys or change or little things that aren't going to get destroyed from the water and soap, you can pull this little doohickey out, and it'll basically have any sort of change and stuff trapped in there, which is just a nice feature to have. So you know, there's that, and then you know, similar thing. The door is, you know, the door's the door. Oh, door. But it's been working well, and because they are, I was initially actually going to go with top load, but the front loads use less water, and front loading machines have been out long enough that like a lot of there is more mechanical wear and tear on them, but these guys have some good reputation, and there's warranties and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, really, I like them for, they do a good job, and they're much more efficient than the previous ones that were here. Especially the old dryer was over 900. It's over 900. Whereas this guy is 606. So you're gonna save some money. Maybe not a ton, but you know, we're also using less electricity, which is just good for the planet. So both are more efficient and both work well. They even have like a downloaded feature. So you know, you've got these different cycles: your normal, your heavy duty, bedding, small load, yuck, towels, whatever. But there's more modes maybe you want on the internet. I mean, to me, it's maybe slightly gimmicky, but you know, just different cycles that you can download and use, and they've got apps and all that kind of stuff where you can do that. So yeah, it's just, you know, I know some people are hit or miss, not hit or miss, but, you know, hesitant on, you know, apps and always being connected and stuff like that. Not that these are always connected, but you can definitely take advantage of that kind of stuff. Anyways, very happy with them so far. Long term, I'd like to rearrange this area a bit. I'm not a huge fan of the sink being in between them. I think I measured it. I think the ceiling is just a touch too low that I can't stack them, which you can do with these models. I mean, that's one of the advantages of the most front loads, is you can stack them. But you know, eventually I'd like to maybe even get like the little. Sorry about my camera work, by the way. Get some cabinetry, so you've got a couple shelves you can store supplies, or you know, whatever. Just tidy up the area a bit more, but that'll happen in the future. It's not a huge priority. But for now, we got clean clothes. Okay, next up, can't really show you just yet, but and it's loosely fits in efficiency, but I fit it in efficiency. It's a kitchen island. The kitchen, there's one spot where the previous owner had like a little eat-in table with a couple chairs, and it worked like well for that space because it's not really in the way or being utilized by anything else. So I like that. But to me, the biggest thing right now is just having more prep area and some shelving. So the island, it's got a couple open shelves, so I can put frequently used things like a toaster, blender, you know, maybe some larger pots or pans, you know, things of that nature. And then on the other side, it does have a spot for a couple like bar stools or what have you, which will be nice to have, but that's not like the number one reason for me to want to have the kitchen island. So it's more for the extra cupboard space and the extra prep area, because the kitchen, I like the general layout, and there's a lot of cupboards and all that, but some of the cupboards are a little tricky to get to, and the countertop is, you know, it's there, but it's kind of minimal. So so that's gonna go a long ways in just improving my general efficiency in the kitchen, if you will. And I think that's important, and it'll just make good use of that space, which again is just empty floor space, really. So I'm trying to make use of all the space I have in the kitchen, and it makes the whole just process of cooking and being in the kitchen more enjoyable when you're not constantly having to move stuff around and fighting for counter space. So problem with that is it's an IKEA island. It's got a 10-year warranty. It's good quality for sure. I mean, I know IKEA certainly has some things that are hit or miss, but the problem is it's a 3-box thing that I ordered, and they only delivered the first 2 boxes. So I'm waiting on the third box, and whatever's in the third box is required to even start putting it together. So right now I've just got a bunch of pieces laying about. So that's fine, but hopefully in the near future I'll be able to show it off. Last thing is the dishwasher. I didn't get one. I've been thinking about getting one for a while, but also falls under efficiency because I can't really compete with a machine in terms of using less water to wash dishes, so it'll be nice for that. And also, even though I don't mind washing dishes, it does save me time by being able to put in a big load and just let stuff wash and dry on its own, and then I can be off being productive elsewhere. Maybe just enjoying my time watching a movie or something instead. Who knows? But overall, it does definitely fall into the efficiency category. Not a huge priority, like specifically, because, like I said, I've been washing dishes more than half my life, and I don't mind doing it. So I'm at the point now where I can wait it out until I find a really good deal. There's a lot of places that'll do save the tax deal or just clearance on certain models and stuff. I don't necessarily need to have the brand spanking new one, even if it's something like a scratch and dent deal. Like, whatever, right? But that kind of thing usually means you're going to save a couple $100. So yeah, I'm keeping my eye out for any deals. Looking at an LG. Bosch is also pretty highly rated. The only reason I might lean towards an LG is because if I end up getting a new fridge and a new stove, eventually I'd like them to kind of match and stuff. And as nice as Bosch is, and you can get a reasonably priced dishwasher, their fridges and stoves tend to be, quite a bit more. So anyways, that's it mostly for the efficiency and automation, I guess, but there's going to be a lot more stuff in the future, just because I think that kind of stuff is neat. Next category, exciting, very exciting, gardening. This is something every year, it's a big deal for me, and I look forward to it, and it's something I've been, you kind of prepare for it months ahead of time, and we're getting in the thick of it now. Not quite the thick of it, but we're getting there. I did a stream where I sowed the seeds that we're going to be going with this year. Hopefully that'll be up on the channel. If you want to watch that, it's just me putting seeds in dirt, but it's still kind of fun. So we've got a bunch of peppers, some tomatoes, of course, and a few other vegetables and herbs. A lot of the stuff is already sown, and then a few things will get sown directly outdoors when the weather's a bit nicer. Things like cucumbers and stuff that'll grow pretty quickly, or carrots and radishes and that stuff. But we'll get a look in a minute downstairs of the setup. But yeah, I think it was March 18th is when I first got the seeds going. My target date every year is kind of March 15th, so I wasn't too far behind this season. And that's just because with tomatoes and peppers and some other stuff, they need a lot of time to grow and mature, and so I have to do that indoors because it's too cold outdoors. So right around mid to late May is when the last frost has occurred, and it'll be safe to actually start moving the plants outdoors. So there'll be a process of about a week where I harden them off, which just means that we're taking the plants out the first day for about a half hour, maybe an hour, bring them back in. The next day you do it a bit more and then bring them back in, and then by the time a week has gone by, they're able to endure the sun because, in case you don't know, plants, when you grow them indoors, they don't develop that there's like a natural kind of sunblock in the leaves if they grow outdoors. So when you do it indoors, as strong as your lights may be, they can't compete with the sun. So if you're to grow something indoors and then just be like, here you go, and put it out when it's nice and sunny out, you'll see the plant will, maybe just straight up die, or it'll struggle a lot before it recovers. So that's the process of hardening off. But we're still, what day is it today? It's April, so we're still over a month, maybe a month and a half away from getting them outdoors, but they're growing pretty well. So yeah, we'll take a look in a second, but also I wanted to say I've got to get on the process of building at least a raised bed. I'd like to build many over the years, but I need to start slow because things aren't free and all that. But for sure, we'll be building one raised bed, which was very generously sponsored by E3, lovely member of our streaming community. Basically paid for the materials, the wood, and there'd be some fencing, and I have to order soil and all that. So it's not exactly cheap to start, but like over time, once we have these beds, then you have them and they'll last a good while. So I've been kind of tinkering with some designs for the raised bed, and once I settle on that, more or less, I just like to copy paste over the next few years. Like I'm hoping that every year I can build a new bed or two, which would be nice. And I know there's also, you can get, I think it's called Birdie is the brand, and there's probably other brands of kind of like metal and other wood raised beds, like kits or things. But I like building stuff too, and this way I can get something exactly as I want, and you're not kind of paying a premium for the shipping and the design and all the other kind of stuff. So we'll be doing that again. That'll be a May project for sure, but something I need to start thinking about a little bit more. Of course, I will also need to be ordering some grow bags, containers, because I have way too many plants, and they won't all fit in one or two raised beds. So I think for the first few years, I'll still be growing things in containers, which is fine because I'm used to that from my apartment. Everything on the balcony was grown in a container, had great success with peppers and tomatoes, and like a lot of vegetables actually prefer being in containers, or maybe if they don't prefer it, there's just certain benefits that you do have. So I'll be having to order that stuff for a bulk of the things we'll be growing this year, and then as the years pass and I start building more raised beds or just gardens and stuff in general, my reliance on the grow bags and containers will decrease. But either way, it's also something I need to get on pretty soon because the time tends to fly by, and then if you wait too long to order something and it's like, hey, you gotta wait another couple weeks for it to get delivered, who knows, then that's kind of bad. So yeah, no judging, but this was a very quick setup, and things are going to be changing soon as well, but the seeds of all the plants germinated a little bit more quickly, and I needed to get lighting going and all that, but it works. My parents brought over this folding table they had no use for, and I thought, hey, that's going to work really well to get all of our seed trays up there. But yeah, you can see, obviously the lighting doesn't cover all of the trays, but but I kind of shuffle them around a little bit more. But you've got the heating mat under here, which also is 4 feet long, so it doesn't quite get all of them, but it's more important for the actual seed germination in particular. So trays where I have, most of the plants have germinated by now, I can move those around. But yeah, the lights here are all in series. So only the one here at the end is actually, plugged in, and then you just have all these wires that connect them. So they come with other connectors that are like short, really short. So if you wanted, instead of having these all side by side like this, if you wanted to have them lengthwise, you could just use the short connection. So you don't have all this, extra cable. But for here, I mean, it's nice to have this kind of flexibility. But because these are low enough, I can't really, I could always put like a hook in the floor joist there and then just keep this out of the way. But it's really not in the way to begin with. It just kind of looks unsightly maybe. But as well, I know they're not all perfectly level. But that's because I got this rope wire and cut it all myself. And then these little sleeves here, if it'll focus, I also hand crimped those. You can probably tell by myself. So they're all roughly, I think it's 26 inches long. And other than just purely like the perfectionist mindset, it doesn't matter that, this one dangles a little bit lower. Also, the floor joists aren't like perfectly level either, so that was another factor. I could have done it in a different way where there's other mounting brackets that I could have just screwed directly into a piece of wood. So I could have cut like a slat of wood, roughly the width of all of these side by side, and then just secured the brackets that hold the lights to the bottom of that piece of wood, and then on the top of piece of wood, then I could have done, a couple hooks and then had some of this wire. But yeah, at the time I just didn't really think about that. And yeah, so I also could use, you could use just chain instead, like smaller chain, which would be easier to adjust the height with these hooks that I put in, but it cost a fair bit more, so I figured I'd go for the cheaper and more labor-intensive setup. But it works, ultimately, and like I said, I think earlier, I'm trying to not be too much of a perfectionist. Perfection is the enemy of good enough. And in this case, this is certainly good enough. And yeah, we'll take a look at some of these more closely that aren't under this very pink, purple, reddish light. But the reason for this lighting is that it's better for kind of the early stages of development for the plants. And then later on, I mean, they'll be outdoors anyways, and they'll have the sun, which is, the best light of them all. And that'll be better for when it comes to actually growing really big and for like the flowers and stuff in general. If you were growing like these peppers indoors year round, you probably want to switch away from these lights to something that's got less reds in it. But this is kind of new for me. I used to just use some old aquarium lights, which did the trick, but certainly weren't as optimized. But yeah, this is working well. So let's take a closer look at one of these trays. Okay, so this is one of the 6 trays. This is tray number 3, and this one is nothing but peppers. So you can see, they're coming along pretty well so far. Honestly, I haven't been, once I got the lights and the heating mat and everything set up down here, I haven't really been babying things. So, if things probably could be better, they could be maybe a bit further along, but they're doing well enough so far. So yeah, I mean, just to kind of make sense of things a little bit more, I know this is tray 3 because in the corner I put 3 little popsicle, or not popsicle, toothpicks, and I have a corresponding cell spreadsheet. So that way I know in tray 3, these also indicate that this is cell A1. So I know in tray 3, cell A1, if I look at the Excel, it'll be like, oh, that's such and such pepper. I don't, off the top of my head, know what this is, but it's very, very quick to find out. And then that way I don't have to label each cell physically, which, just would take more time and not really necessary. But another thing I do is just to make sure I at least get one of everything that I sow. I do 2 cells per, pepper variety or plant variety. So whatever this pepper is, let's just say it's like a habanero of some type. This cell A2 is going to be the exact same thing. So, and then A3 and A4 are the same plant. A5 and 6, A7 and 8, so on and so forth. So, as you can also tell, like most, I think most of these I did plant 2 seeds for, or maybe it's 3, but we're at least getting 2 in most cases. Some you get 1, some haven't even germinated yet, and they may still germinate. Like this guy here, that is supposed to be a dark purple leaf. I don't know what variety it is, but there's a few that have darker leaves, but its companion cell hasn't spreaded anything. And even in this one, only the one has popped up when I know there's a minimum of 2 seeds. So, but that's just why you do multiples. Usually I do 3 seeds. Triples is best. But yeah, and then some of these varieties, they just take a lot longer to get going too. This guy needs a little bit of water, but you can see this little tiny guy down there and all that, but I'm not worried. And that's also one thing you kind of, once you get into gardening and stuff, is like, not everything's going to go perfectly. You want it to, but, you just got to take the victories and enjoy them, and you try to learn from the losses or understand why certain things don't go certain ways. Like some of these seeds, they might just be older seeds I've had for a few years, and so their rate of germination goes down every year. Sometimes you just kind of get duds in general. It's not even your fault. So yeah, that's just the way it goes. And then, yeah, you can see most of them are getting their second... Sorry, I gotta change my position. My knees ain't what they used to be. Some of them, or most of them, are getting their first true set of leaves. So this leaf here and this leaf here are kind of like the little starting leaves that first pop up. And then these ones are much more, they actually look like pepper leaves. And actually this one's getting, if it'll focus, is getting its 3rd set. So that's good news. I see actually a few more have just started to, if I can figure out where my camera is. So this guy, yeah, this guy is also getting a 3rd set. So yeah, so these starter leaves, I mean, they will fall off and die. So that even though they look kind of yellowish and like, oh no, MALF is killing the plants. No, that just happens. They just give it a boost of energy. It gets all the light early on to help get the roots going and get some more, the true leaves as well. So things are going, pretty well here. And the other thing is, they're not leggy. So if you don't have a strong enough light, or the light is like really far away, the plants will grow tall and kind of like skinny and scrawny because they're trying to just get as close as they can to the light. So that basically makes them leggy, and leggy's bad because then they kind of will be flopping all over. They can't, if they get long enough, they can't really support their own growth. That's not a death sentence or whatever. There's ways you can kind of just like prop them up. But ultimately, it's a sign like, hey, you need to get more, some more lighting in here for sure. Another way to sort of fight against the legginess is you can get a fan blowing to mimic wind, and that constant, even, it doesn't need to be a lot, but it'll tell the plant, hey, you got something that's working against you, and it'll try to thicken up a little bit so it's not flopping over. as well. But I haven't had the fan going on down here because it's cooler. It's not cold in the basement, but it's not really heated. So I've had the domes on to maintain the temperature from the heating mat and this general humidity, which, you know, you need a more humid environment for seed germination in general. But you can tell the lighting is doing a good job. The plants aren't struggling to reach it, so they're not very tall. But that's kind of what you want. Like with peppers, generally you want kind of more, a lot of times just compact growth to start, just to make sure they've got a good foundation and stuff. But yeah, I'm happy so far, and soon we'll be getting these in their own little kind of like 4-inch pots. I've got some of those just to give them a bit more room to grow. And the other thing is, pretty soon, once there's like some clear victors in these cells, I'm gonna snip the weak ones. So to give you an example, like this cell here, this plant is further along than this one, and as much as I'd like to keep both, I won't really have room outside or have the resources, the containers in the soil to have all of these. So basically I'll just take the stronger, and then the weaker one gets snipped in here. And the reason for doing that is because if I were to try and, you know, maybe take this one out and put it in its own pot, you're risking damaging the one you really want to keep, because if we're pulling this out, because they're in such a small area, their roots could be all tangled up. So if I pull this guy out, it might, you know, pull this other one out, or it might pull some of the roots of the good one out, and that's just not good. So by snipping at the base of this, you're effectively killing the plant. It's going to stop consuming resources and all that kind of stuff, and you're ensuring you're not going to harm the one you really want to keep. So as sad as it is, that's something we'll be doing soon. But for some of these other guys that are still a little bit smaller here, right, like I could probably say this one, you know, is a little bit further along, but there's still a chance the other one could catch up. So a little bit of time before I do the snipping, and then not too long after that, we'll probably just transplant these, take the soil out kind of in one clump, and then loosen up any visible roots gently and get them in a pot, and they can grow a bit more. And then once mid to late May hits, we'll be transferring them into, you know, the backyard or in larger containers that they'll remain in for the rest of the year, or in the raised beds, depending on how many of those we get and all that. So yeah, plants are coming along pretty well, and it's nice. I've been able to not baby them too much, and they're doing their thing. Next thing on the docket, next category, which will be, you know, semi-recurring, is throne. Throne is, we're not talking about the porcelain throne you sit on every morning and, you know, where you drop the kids off at the pool. I'm not talking about the iron throne or any. This throne is a service. It's an online service. And I came across it a couple months ago now, I'd say. Yeah, something like that. So let's reel it back a little bit, though, to explain like why I have a throne to begin with. When I was in Toronto, there was a point many years back where people said, "Hey, MALF, you know, love watching the stream, or, you know, I love watching the YouTube videos, whatever. Been enjoying them for a while. I want to send you something nice." And at that point, I didn't have anything, and I was like, well, I guess if enough people are thinking about it, sending stuff, I could justify getting a P.O. box. Got a P.O. box, people would send stuff. It was cool. It was very nice. So I worked in Toronto because Toronto's a big city, and I didn't need to worry about, you know, people kind of like stalking me and stuff. And there were instances where people try to find, you know, what's your address? They try to figure out like, oh, Melf took this photo on his Instagram. Maybe this is where he lives or whatever. And it's just really weird, but it's an unfortunate reality too, and something you need to think about when you're kind of putting yourself out there online. So that was fine though, because Toronto's big, you know, And yeah, I didn't have to worry about that. But now that I live in a much smaller place and I don't want people to know, whether it's a village, a town, a city, like something in between, whatever. If I were to get a P.O. box here, it'd be like, oh, MALF lives here. And then it's a lot easier to figure out, where I live. And, you just, again, get into those issues of, little punks on the internet trying to cause mayhem for a laugh. So definitely, even though I, want people that want to send stuff, I want to be able to facilitate that. A P.O. box just doesn't work from like a, security and safety standpoint. But then I heard about Throne. So Throne is cool in that they have my address, but it's like private, so people who send stuff don't need my address, right? And it's not so much sending stuff. You basically have a wish list. I'll put stuff up on the wish list, or people could suggest things and I approve or reject it. And then if you want to get that thing from me, you click purchase, you give the money, and then Throne acts as the middle person and just will actually place the order for you using the money that you've provided, and then they ship it right to my door. So I don't even need to worry about going and checking a P.O. box every week or every couple weeks, and the person sending the gift doesn't need to go to the post office or a courier and then, give the item and deal with that. So it's kind of easier on both ends. And as well with P.O. boxes, a lot of couriers don't even deliver to them, right? They'll take your money and they'll ship the product, but when it comes to actually delivering it, you'll just get an email or something that just says attempted delivery, but we don't deliver to P.O. boxes. Like, it would have been nice if you said that before the person sent the thing, and then I have to go and call, FedEx or UPS or USPS or whoever it is, DHL, and be like, hey, somebody tried to send me a gift. I don't want them to know my address, though, so I went to my P.O. box, but you guys don't deliver to a P.O. box. Is there a place where I could go and, drive to and pick up the package? And they're like, yeah, it just drives me crazy. So it's like, it's nice because people are trying to send you something and all that, but it does become a bit of a headache with the P.O. box. And P.O. boxes also cost money. And, it's, yeah. So Throne was a savior for sure. And anyways, I'm not trying to be like, hey, buy stuff and send stuff to me. But there have been people that are just like, hey, I've been watching for years. I know you moved into a new house. I kind of wanted to get like a housewarming gift and send you something. So that's been, really cool and helpful for a lot of stuff. And yeah, I'll post, the link will be down below. If you're curious and you wanted to look at the Throne wish list. But I myself have been putting kind of mostly household items and stuff. It's not like toys and meme kind of things, right? These are things that I will use for the house. Like it's pretty much stuff I'm going to buy myself at some point, unless somebody is like, hey, I want to get Malf a housewarming gift. I'll buy him these roller blinds or something. So I'm going to show off the gifts that I have received so far through Throne. And just because, again, it's very generous, and I want to give a big thank you to the people that have helped out. So let's take a look at the goodies. Okie dokie. So first thing that was very generously gifted to me on the Throne, wine glasses. I know some of these items you may say are not like, oh, you need that for a home necessarily, but a lot of these things are also, things I will eventually be getting at some point. And, because I have a new home and it's closer to some family and I have more space, so I can, I'm always going to other families, homes for dinner, meals, gatherings, whatever it is, because my old apartment not really the biggest place or easily accessible to do that. So now that I have a place, I want to start hosting some stuff, and if I'm gonna be a good host, I need some wine glasses, right? So I put these on the list, and E3 very generously was like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy those for MALF," and so I got them, and they're solid. And so now when people come here and we've got some wine, I've got some glasses. I mean, a little back story for why I put these ones in particular. One, I feel like the ones with the stems, I myself or other people are probably more likely to knock them over. Right? These are a little more stable. If you bump them with a bit of force, they're not just gonna go blop. They also look pretty cool. And then, yeah, they're just good general purpose wine glasses. I looked into it a bit beforehand. It's like, do I really need wine glasses for white wine and ones for red wine? And as I was looking into it, I found out there's actually like wine glasses for like specific types of wine, like your Cabernets and your Pinot Grigios and whatever. So clearly, I don't know too much about wine, but basically, back in the day, what's the company? Some Austrian glass maker was like, how can we sell more glass? We'll do marketing and make it seem like to enjoy optimally each wine, you need a different shape of wine glass, which is just, a bunch of hogwash. Basically, I guess, what I read anyways, I'm not a wine expert, but they're just like, the biggest thing affecting the taste, the quality of the wine is the wine itself. The vessel doesn't really matter too much. So I got these. They're nice. They work, and soon I hope to actually be able to be using them. I like to host a gathering once things settle a little bit more around here. So yeah. So thank you again to E3 for purchasing for purchasing these for me. Thank you. Okay, so next we have these awesome freaking knives. Another thing that I've always wanted some good quality knives. These are Shun, which is a fairly reputable Japanese knife making company. They've been in the game for a long time, and I've always wanted some. But being in my old apartment, I would cook and make stuff for sure, but the kitchen was very limiting and small. You didn't have a lot of counter space, and just it wasn't as enjoyable to be in there. So now with this new kitchen, it's more open. I have more space, especially once I get this little kitchen island set up. I already am, but I'll be making even more food and meals and stuff as we go. So it'll be nice to invest in some good knives and stuff other than the the cheap IKEA knives that I have. So I've wanted these for a while. I just put them on my list. I was eventually going to grab, at least the chef knife, which is this top one, to have. If it's like if I can have one knife, one good quality knife, I'll get a chef knife. But someone anonymous, don't know who they were, bought the chef knife, and then someone else or the same person, but both anonymous, then later bought this utility knife as well. So that's again huge, very generous. Thank you very much. But these are going to be used a lot for me personally, and with the streams and possibly YouTube specific videos. I'd like to do just more cooking streams and videos and stuff. Not that I'm an expert, because I'm very much not. But I'm the kind of person I like to, share my experiences with stuff. So I think if we're doing cooking videos and stuff like that, and that can just kind of encourage me to be cooking and trying to make new things, and baking as well. So these are going to get a ton of use, and that's awesome because they're awesome knives. And I've already found a place not too far away that'll. The guy's been sharpening knives for, like 30 years or something like that, because I have an electric knife sharpener. I would never use that on these knives. That's fine for like the IKEA knives and all that kind of stuff, but this you want to be using a whetstone for knives of this quality, and I have yet to purchase a whetstone or, practice using it. That's a long-term goal. That'd be cool, but for now, I'll let the guy who's been using a whetstone for 30 years do it and take good care of these and keeping them nice and sharp when I need to. But either way, very, very, very nice knives, and I'm excited to be using them. So whoever you are, or the two people that are anonymous, thank you both, or thank you individual, very very much. It's very generous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, next up is this lovely, lovely Bluetooth speaker. This was very generously purchased for me by Nuglet, lovely individual who's been, very supportive. And again, as I mentioned, these are predominantly people that hang out, because I don't do much stuff on YouTube, on the Twitch channel. So thank you. I just wanted to make sure they're getting the love and appreciation over here for what they do on the Twitch channel. Sorry, I do need to get a swig of my drink. But yeah, this is a JBL brand Bluetooth speaker, not sponsored or anything. I mean, none of this products shown in this video are sponsored. Nothing about it is sponsored. But so far, I am loving this. I used to have in my apartment a different brand, a much cheaper, shower speaker, right? This is waterproof, or, it's like IP freely. No, IP, I don't know if it says on it. IP7, IPX7, whatever, one of the standards. So it's totally good to be in the shower. I mean, I don't think you want to be submerging it, because then you can't really hear it. But anyways, it's been great, and I like it because it's got this clip here. Oops, sorry. It's got this clip here. So depending on maybe your shower rod, or you've got other stuff you can clip it onto. So it's great for that. And not only do I use it, in the morning, I get some good heavy metal music going. It gets me awake and all that kind of stuff. I've just been clipping that right to my pants or my belt. And if I'm wandering around the house doing like all sorts of chores, going down doing laundry, I'm in the kitchen doing some dishes, I'm going upstairs, whatever. Like, I tend to be kind of all over the place. So this is nice. I can just have music, playing with me wherever I go, and it's not so heavy that I'm like, oh, get this off my pants. But yeah, it's great, and JBL's a pretty reputable brand, like just from quality standpoint for like speakers and stuff. So the sound is really good, and when I was doing reviews on this too, it's kind of one of those that was on a lot of the like, lists for like, top 5 to get, or and this one fell under the kind of generally like best overall, like good sound quality, reasonably priced, and it's very versatile and good design. I love it. So thank you very much to Nuglet for grabbing that for me. This is the kind of product I honestly like. It also, just like Bluetooth, like earbuds or headphones, I kind of recommend this product. I didn't know it was going to change my like daily routine or my productivity as much as it did, right? It just, you could also listen to whatever podcasts or maybe audiobooks on it. It's just a great thing to have, and I find myself using it a lot more than I would have expected. And yeah, just because of its design, it doesn't need to live just in your shower. So that's the great thing about this. So anyways, thank you very much to Nuglet. I should also add, with the Nuglet also purchased a PSU, a power supply unit, for me. My old one, for my smaller form factor computer that I use for like cooking streams and other special streams, it went kaput. So even though I can't really show that right now because it's in the computer, Nuglet also purchased that on the throne. So, like, thank you very much. I love you. But this here is a shirt. I didn't put this. This is a fan suggestion, as they call them on Throne. You can drop a link, and then I get an email. It's like, hey, somebody made a suggestion. You can either approve it or reject it. And I saw this, and I was like, yo, like, that's an awesome shirt. I wouldn't think to put clothing up on the Throne myself. But I gladly approved it, and then it was purchased anonymously. I know the designer of this is actually somebody in the community, Craft Tech Ninja. So I don't know if Craft Tech Ninja actually bought it, because technically it was left anonymous. But so the story goes, Craft Tech Ninja designed it for, the brand is, where is it? Good Threads? And I don't know where all that brand is available, but it's certainly available on Amazon. And then it got delivered, and I mean, I was very happy. I mean, legitimately, I'm not just saying this. This is the kind of shirt lately I've been buying more floral stuff. I love the design, the way it's illustrated, the colors, like everything about it is awesome, and the quality of it is good too. I mean, sometimes it's why I'm hesitant about buying certain like types of clothing or from certain brands that I've never felt or had before, worn before online, but the quality of this is good. I mean, it feels good. It doesn't feel cheap at all. It's nice and soft, and it seems to be very well made. So awesome button-up shirt, and I'm looking forward to wearing it a lot more come summertime. Since it's a short sleeve one too. So with the warmer weather, it'll be very nice, and I'm sure once I wear it, it'll get a lot of compliments. So thank you very much to Craft Tech Ninja for designing it, and whoever bought it, thank you. I appreciate it very, very, very much. Lego! Eve, thank you for purchasing this for me. This was another fan suggested item on Throne. And Eve pulled the trigger on it, and the message for this was a fox house for the fox house. It's a housewarming gift, but of more of a playful nature, I guess. Technically I don't need it, but it's also nice to have people suggest a few things that are just more, purely for recreation or pleasure. Ribbed for her pleasure. Ew. I'm sorry about that reference. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. But anyways, I'm I'm a Lego kid. I grew up on Lego. I still have a bunch of Lego, and I still like it. But I tend not to purchase it for myself because I've got other more pertinent things to spend my money on these days with the house. But it's nice. It's like a little Minecraft sort of setup, and so you got the house that looks like a fox. You got a little zombie dude. You got some foxes. I think that's like an Arctic fox. We're fishing. We're catching fish. You even got a diamond sword in there, and yeah, it's just nice. I'd like to put this together on like a stream, so I hopefully can do that soon. But then you see the backside. You've got like a crafting table. You've got the smelter. It's got everything, man. And yeah, so it's just fun. That'll be nice to have, and it's not too big that I can't just put it on a shelf, put it on display somewhere. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's just fun. So thank you very much to the person who suggested it, and thank you very much to Eve for pulling the trigger. Oakley dokley. This one, it ain't too flashy, but listen, I appreciate it a lot. So I've been getting some roller blinds set up for the house. You'll see one in this room in a little bit here on in action, or but this yeah, little IKEA roller blind that is good for giving a bit of privacy, but also pretty much lets in most of the daylight, which I want. I got a lot of plants. I mean, it's just nice to have daylight for myself as well. It's good and healthy, but and kind of boost the mood and all that stuff. But yeah, I like to keep things nice and the natural light in here, which will also help save on the electricity bill, so I don't feel the need to put on actual lights and all that. But yeah, so I mean, it's cool because not only does it give the bit of privacy and let the light through, but when you pull, it's got like these set increments. So you pull and it goes one section at a time, and then when I loosen it, if it'll show, it has a very slow, like, it goes up on its own, but very slowly. So you know how it's really annoying when you have maybe an older roller blind, and you release it and it just goes whoosh, and it snaps up, and it's very chaotic and loud and all that. So this is just a nice, gentle user experience all around, and these had a pretty good rating. I know, again, IKEA stuff can be kind of hit or miss, but this had a lot of good reviews on it, and it's pretty cheap. It does exactly what I want. So it gives a little bit of privacy. You know, it's not a blackout blind or anything like that, but that's not what I wanted. So as for me, this particular product is like 10 out of 10 what I want. And so yeah, anxiety. Purchased a couple of these that were up on the throne, and that's just nice, you know. Again, it's not the flashiest thing, but I kind of nerd out and I get excited about this kind of stuff. So to me, this is fun, and I appreciate the support in grabbing a couple of those, and soon the whole house or all the windows will pretty much have these blinds on them. So it's nice and consistent as well, which is a big deal to me. So thank you very much, Anxiety. Okay, these Bad Mama Jammas are outdoor cameras. I every year would do kind of a garden streams, or I'd have garden cam is what we called it. So back in my apartment, my balcony was right on the other side of the wall from where I had my my computer set up, and the door was right there, so I could run out a couple webcams on just some relatively short USB cable extensions, and boom, you know, I could switch to a scene, and you'd see the plants waving in the wind and basking in the sun and all that good stuff. However, now my office is upstairs, and I don't have a balcony, I have a backyard, but that's much further than a USB cable will work for, right? So these are cool because they are wireless, and I can effectively, you know, get some footage of the stuff wirelessly, and yeah, that's good. No wires is always good. So this one here, you know, it's the hub, and you can have up to 4 cameras on a hub. So there's these 3 additional ones as well, so I'll be able to get them set up like mounted on, since I'll be doing some raised beds. I can mount the you know, at least one of the cameras, maybe a couple, on some of the posts that I'll have for fencing around the raised bed, and so that'll be good to get a nice view of the plants in there. And you know, I can always mount one, you know, on the house itself, or other. I could just kind of put up a post wherever in the yard, and then mount another one. So we'll be able to get some cool views. I mean, a lot of people actually just use these for like actual security cameras and stuff like that. But for me, it's for the garden. But yeah, sorry, I had to cut there. I had to get a drink, dry throat. But yeah, I'll be able to use them for any number of things. And something I will probably be getting, they also have a little solar panel attachment. So like these will work on battery for, I think it's up to 6 months maybe, because they have motion detectors, motion sensors, and they have night vision capability as well. So if you see a critter moving through, you know, through the backyard or wherever they're looking at night, it'll turn on and it'll capture, you know, I don't know what it is specifically, but, you know, maybe 15, 30 seconds of footage, and it'll upload it, and then you can look at that in the morning. So if I'm to use them a bit more actively, though, to look at, you know, the garden or whatever, for longer segments, that'll obviously drain the battery a bit more. So I probably will pick up some solar panels for these. I think they're like $20 or something, so surprisingly cheap, and that should mean I can use them a bit more without having to worry about going to take them down to charge up the battery. But very cool, and they were recommended by some people in the community as well. When I was talking about outdoor cameras, a few said they use these Wise cameras themselves for security or just general monitoring in their house, and they had nothing bad to say about them. So looking forward to setting them up and getting them going soon. So also thank you to well, it was anonymous who bought them, but I think anonymous because they put their name down as Dwartherling McFluberbunt II. I don't know anybody by that name, seems like a bit of a meme name, so that's why I say anonymous. But Dwartherling, whoever you are, thank you very much for picking these up. I very much appreciate it. Okay, the last thing to show off is this GoPro. The GoPro Hero 10 Black. Extremely generous gift. I put it on the throne. I honestly didn't really expect it to be purchased by anybody, but King KJ, actually a king. I bow down. Thank you very much for this. Again, I put a lot of stuff on the list as like a central, like these are the things I want to buy at some point. If somebody happens to buy it for me and it gets me, like, that's cool, that's gravy, but it's just nice for me personally to have like a central list of all these things that eventually I would like to get. And my justification for putting this on the list is because it's less for like the home itself and more for the stream and these YouTube videos, just being able to get content, of the house. So for this particular series, this is going to be like tremendously useful for just making it easier to get footage, but also like high quality footage, which is important to me. The phone is good enough for now to like get the odd video, but this will definitely be a step up, and I'll be able to use it to make just other content as well, right? There's a lot of accessories you can get for this, whether you're mounting it on your head. I think there's like a chest mount, or other mounts, just whether it's the little mobile tripods, or like little clamps you could clamp it onto, I could put it on the deck outside, clamp it, and get whatever footage out there. So I intend to use this like for content and for this series in particular. And it has wireless streaming as well, so I can even use it as like a webcam to capture, live footage when I'm, I could be at my computer, but this could be outside, getting some footage of the garden or whatever else. So really tremendously useful. I'm excited to have this. And it was something at some point I was going to buy it, and it's the kind of thing I could expense for work. But again, thank you very much to King KJ for that. And what I can't show you is a couple accessories that King KJ also purchased. One is like a little gimbal that's got a built-in battery pack. A gimbal is like those things you can basically mount it, and then you hold the gimbal in your hand, and you can be moving around all frantic. But the gimbal kind of keeps the movement of the actual video footage, buttery smooth. It's the kind of thing they use in, obviously bigger, more expensive, fancier gimbals in Hollywood for films and stuff like that. But it's the same principle. So this does, by default have some optic image stabilization for sure. But the gimbal will take it to another level. And then, like I said, it has a built-in battery pack. And a handle, so it'll just be easier to use if you're doing stuff, for longer durations, and you don't need to worry about charging the battery on this guy so frequently. So there's that, and then the other accessory is like an audio mod, so it's just a better quality speaker, directional speaker. So if I'm using this to capture video, and I don't have the little lavalier mic set up like I do now, then the mic on this will be good for whether it's somebody talking, myself talking, because it's like a bi-directional microphone, or just getting some kind of noise. But it's just a better quality microphone with a little windbreaker kind of thingy, so it'll help block wind when we're outdoors, which is not entirely what this camera will be used for, but a lot of its usage will be outdoor stuff. So very excited to have this. It's one of those things that it's like, it's fun, it's for work, and it'll be useful, but it's also just kind of like a bit of a toy thing. I always like playing around with cameras and stuff. So excited about that, and probably get some other accessories soon just to be able to wear it on my head, and we could use it for cooking streams in that way, or maybe if I'm doing other stuff around the yard, I might be building something, doing a little woodworking or doing a little gardening. It'll just be great to be able to put that on my head and, give you the view that I see and not have to worry about getting my dirty hands all over the camera and stuff. So it's just a great product, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So thank you so much to King KJ for picking that up. You're way too generous. I thank you. And one more thing before I bounce, just in general, do not feel at all like, oh, I gotta buy something off of MALF's throne or whatever. I'm just doing this to give thanks to the people that have. That were like, hey, I want to send you something, so that's why I set the throne up. But you can suggest things on the throne. Again, the link is in the description. So all you do is you find a link online, from like an Amazon.ca or something or some other retailer. You plop it in the suggestion, and then I get an email that says somebody suggested an item. And the reason I would ask that you do that is if you're a new homeowner, or maybe kind of recently, or even if you've had a home for a while, and there's certain items or things that you have found you wish you knew about sooner. They just make your life in the home better. They make things more efficient, like whatever it is. I'd love to hear about them because I kind of use the throne as a central, just a wish list for myself. So, I'll end up buying most of the stuff that I put on it at some point if it's not purchased for me by somebody else. So it's nice to kind of just keep that centralized. So if you have any suggestions for things that you think would make life in a new house, or new to me but an old house better, I'm all ears. So don't be shy with suggesting stuff. That'd be cool if you have any ideas. But otherwise, thank you so much to the people that have gifted these items I showed off today. So, bit of a backlog. I don't think there'll be so many to show off in the next video, but I do want to make sure I'm giving thanks. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. Next category is kind of decoration, aesthetics, design. There's a lot of things you could call it, but more or less just how things around the house are looking. And not a lot is happened other than just getting furniture kind of more into its place, getting a few new bits of furniture. I had most of the stuff, in my apartment days. Maybe over the years I might upgrade a couple items or what have you, but it's mostly just been getting a few more lamps now that I have more rooms, and a couple other odds and ends. But what I'm planning to do, I talked about in the first video, for sure, design-wise, all the rooms will be painted at some point. All the floors will be swapped out at some point. Eventually we'll do like a kitchen reno, bathroom reno. All that stuff will happen over time. Painting for sure is one of those things I want to do sooner rather than later. But I also want the house to kind of have a bit of, overall like a flow, and it makes sense overall, right? You could maybe paint one room a certain color, but then the next room over it clashes with, or just doesn't really have that cohesion, I don't know. I think about that kind of stuff. So picking a paint color for one room means I need to think about all the rooms, or a good amount of the rooms. So anyways, I'll give you a closer look, but I was turned on to this brand I never heard about, but they're called Farrow and Ball. It's an English-based company, made in England. And it's like a pigment-based, water-based paint. Like, it's a higher quality for sure. So, you do pay a premium, but I haven't committed to using them. I did get some samples, though, and I'm looking to get those up on the wall soon. So the one thing, when I was talking to the person that was selling these samples, they said, all paints are going to react to light kind of differently depending on where they are in a room and what time of day it is and what your lighting is and all those other factors. But Pharaoh and Ball tends to react more so than, stuff like Bear, which I've used in the past. And it's Bear is like fine. I don't have any particular issues with it. But since I'm, this is a house and I know I'm here, right? I'm thinking if I'm going to paint, I want to make sure I paint it colors I want. I want it to be good quality, all that stuff. So that's why I'm looking at Pharaoh and Ball, even though it does cost a bit more. So yeah, I'm thinking something bold for the living room. This Lake Red is red, but it's also like almost, it's got a pinkish hue to it. It's pretty bold, and I know. But when we look around the living room a bit more, I mean, my thinking, my logic here on using a bold color is one, I like color. Okay, I hate beige. If I'm gonna paint, it's like let's do it. You know what I'm saying? But my logic is there. Back here is the big opening. Then there's this other door kind of opening here that I'm actually thinking about extending. So effectively, this like entire right side would almost just be purely open, and you'd have a bit of the drywall up top, this little wall in between here, and then like a bit at the ends. And then I also am gonna at some point do baseboard molding. We'll get casing for the doorways and molding around it and stuff. So that's gonna be white and eat into more of the limited drywall that would be there. So this whole wall barely going to be red. There'll be a little red, but barely. And then you've got the back wall there, which is, mostly just a window. Also, the curtains will be changed, so don't worry. That's just the original curtains. I'm using them because they work, but eventually we'll change them. Then this wall, you've got the window here, and then this strip of just bare wall. But I'm going to be putting up a lot of larger framed posters, illustrations on this wall too. So even though this is a big section of wall, it's going to be largely covered. So I'm thinking a bold color isn't going to seem as extreme, And then the wall back here is where the TV is. The TV will be mounted on the wall. And I might end up doing like an accent wall or something. That might not even be the lake red, right? We might do a different color. So all this is to say, I know it's kind of bold, but I think given this particular situation, it might not be so zany. And then of course the other samples that I got are recommended to they go well with the lake red. So there's this Vardo, which is a it's like a greeny bluey kind of color. So maybe the wall by the stairs could be this color. I also got the babouche. It's a nice yellow, which also is supposed to go well with these two previous colors. So that might end up being kind of this hallway between the stairs and the living room, and then it leads into the kitchen. And this might be a good color for the kitchen, which really there's not much to paint in there right now because there's all the cupboards and everything else. But yeah, and then I got this other one, ultramarine blue, which also goes well with the lake red. So if I don't go with the Vardo, maybe I go with this, or maybe I use this to paint, like the dining room or a room upstairs or something like that. So yeah, this is what I was talking about with wanting to, this is the first room I want to paint, but I'm already thinking about, well, if I paint this room this color, I gotta think about the other spaces. So, it's like a simple thing. Some people might just be like, I like this color, boom, and go. But, I want to do things right. I'm very much maintaining the measure twice, cut once mentality when doing a lot of projects here. So, So yeah, I gotta get just get a couple patches on each wall to see if I like the lake red. The person at the place where I picked this up said, do a foot by foot patch on each wall in the room, and then also look at it at different times of the day. Morning, afternoon, evening, night. With lights and curtains open, windows open, closed, all that kind of stuff. Because this brand of paint in particular, she said, some people will love the color on a certain wall at a certain time of day, and then it shifts a few hours, and then they just kind of, their yum turns into a yuck. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing soon. Just getting those patches up on the wall, and I'll show that to you when I do that, and get your guys' opinion for sure. But yeah. So, anyways, I just talked way too long about paint, but I'm excited about all this stuff. So there's that. But let's take a look at the rest of the living room as I got it set up, and also got a little bit of stuff going on in the dining room that we'll show off as well. Alrighty, living room. It's since you last saw it, it's come a long way, I would say, in just looking a bit more presentable. Still a lot of stuff to do, though. As I've mentioned, of course, painting. We'll be painting. Eventually, getting rid of this carpet. I'd like to put in some nice, hardwood flooring at some point. I'm sure over time, certain furniture might get swapped in and out, or changed, or things added. Curtains. These are the ones that came with the house. And the curtain rods. I've got some blinds that I'll be putting up in that window eventually, and the curtains will be different based on whatever I do end up painting this room. If it's the lake red I was talking about, or maybe it's a completely different color. The curtains I'll make sure kind of don't clash with it. But yeah, we got here. This is one of the roller blinds, so you can kind of see outside a bit. You see my neighbors there. I don't want to look too much. And likewise, if you're looking in, they offer like enough privacy so you can't see stuff in super high def detail. But what I specifically like about these, that's why I chose these, is because they let in the natural light still. So it's kind of nice to have. So these I'll swap the curtains on to match whatever those are probably at some point. Same thing for the rods because they don't even match. But that's that. I was marking up the wall here just to find the 2x4s, the studs, because I'm gonna be mounting the TV eventually. I don't know why I have the tape, but it's there. So eventually I'm gonna get the wall mount up. But like I said, if I'm gonna be painting, I'll just make do with the TV being where it is, and then we'll get things painted. Then we'll get the mount up, and then we'll get the TV up when I have a second hand to help hoist it up. So right now it's kind of bleh, but it is what it is. I'm gonna get rid of this light eventually as well. It's just kind of one that I had, and it works there to give me a bit of light, but I'm not super crazy about it there. I'd like to get like the little backlighting, the LED backlighting around the TVs. I like to do that eventually because I do like the ambient lighting, but I don't necessarily want to see the light fixture. But yeah, I mean, there's your couch. This was the floor lamp that was very generously gifted through the throne by Amco the Terrible. So thank you. The one thing, I mean, normally you could put this base underneath a couch or something, but this couch is pretty much right down to the floor, so it's fine. I could actually put like a little basket and put like some blankets or throws or whatever you want to call them on top of it, and it's not really in the way, but just from a visual standpoint, if I didn't have to see it, that would be preferable. But who knows, maybe in time. This couch, it's a good couch, it's been around, but maybe it ends up in the basement at some point if I ever, get something a little little newer, and then in that case, maybe I can slide that under whatever couch that is, but not a high priority, just, I think about all these things. So yeah, we got the beanbag chair here for now. It may move. I'm thinking I'd actually like to get like a nice comfy just chair and like a footstool, and then the beanbag chair could go in the sunroom. I think it'd be really cool in there in the summertime. But for now, it's been nice and cozy in the winter. These are just some of the blinds. So this is the big one for the back window, and then I got some more to put up in the dining room and bedrooms and stuff. Yeah, not too much to see here. We got the vinyl records, little storage and all that kind of stuff. Most of the stuff I just kind of put there to keep it out of the way. So I may move things around yet, and plants and stuff are going to be getting added and moved around to make sure they're getting the right amount of light. My old CDs, mostly decoration at this point, slash, a little stand for the plant, but it works. You got the vinyl player, and these old, not CDs, these CDs nuts. These speakers are, I think, maybe as old, if not older than I am. My dad had them as long as I can remember. Ellipson. So, they're good quality, but yeah, right now I'm not using them on the TV setup because the built-in TV sound is fine, and eventually I would like to get a sound bar. I think that'd be pretty cool. So I just have them set up for the dedicated record setup. And I know this guy looks beat up. This a lot of the plants were left at my apartment while I was here. Like, initially moved in, I couldn't take all the stuff, so I had a couple trips back. And yeah, this guy needs a little more TLC than maybe some of my other plants. But I can assure you, look at this new growth. Look at this leaf. I didn't even know. This one's opening up. And there's a bunch more coming along. So even though it looks like, oh no, MALF, you're such a bad plant owner, I actually have rescued or saved it. I mean, from my own doing, admittedly, but I was not present for a week at a time to be misting, and this guy likes to have it. Actually, I gotta water it because it likes to have its soil kind of moist, not like wet, but moist pretty much all the time. So anyways, that's the back setup here. Like I said, we'll be getting it painted. That wall might end up being an accent wall back there. We'll be having the framed stuff, I'll have 3 or 4 big guys along this wall section. So if I do end up painting it red, like I said, it's actually, like, you're not going to see a lot of it because it'll be covered by that stuff. And then conversely, when we look at this side, this is, the big opening here. I kind of want to mimic that on this side. So this section of wall would almost get removed back to there. This would get pushed up a little bit to match that, and then they'll both get molding and casing around the doorways and stuff, just to make it look nicer. And then we'll get molding along the top and replace the baseboard. This was the kitchen island, so I'm waiting for box 3. So for now, it's just living right there. But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's the living room as is, and then eventually I'm thinking this wall here might become that Vardo color, that kind of greeny blue color, because I definitely don't want to do that red as well, but I think it could look good, so I got to get the paint samples up on that. And then I'm thinking, I'm not a huge fan of this door in particular, and I would like to get more molding and blah, 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 broken record mouth, but this would maybe be that yellow, the barbouche, or whatever it was called, and then possibly this side, and then that leads into the kitchen, and then I would have the kitchen that same color. So just spitballing here, thinking of ideas, but I got to get the samples up to make sure I even like them and see how they look. But you know, so far that's the don't mind the mess of all the stuff down there, but a lot to do to really make it look snazzy, but we're getting there. All right, the dining room still in a state of flux, I guess, maybe. I don't know what the word is. It's unfinished. That's a simple word. But I did get this pendant light up a couple weekends ago, and I'm liking it so far. You know, not too much issue getting it set up, other than, you know, I could have cut the wire here to be exactly the length that I want, but at the time of, I wasn't sure, and like once you cut it, it's not like you can so easily put it back. So, but it comes with this little plastic piece that'll help you kind of keep it tied up, and neat enough for now until I find the right spot. I might want to lower it a bit. I might want to raise it a bit more. Who knows? But yeah. So we've got the table in here, and the reason that I have this hook over there is just to keep it centered above where the table actually is. So the lighting fixture is kind of like center in the room, but because I have the china cabinet, the hutch, whatever you want to call it, on this wall, to have enough room to sit and pull your chair back and all that, I need to push it over to the left. So so that's just to make sure the light is actually centered over the table, since the table is a bit to the left. And don't mind this stuff. The internet junction box is in here. So I got the router. I got to get the ISP to come. They will come and put it where I want them. That sounds so dirty. They need to visit my house and set up the junction box, probably upstairs where I have my actual office. So, and then a bunch of other wires, because I was doing like, you know, a special stream, and having this big table in here was nice. So a little bit of a mess down there, but that'll move. This light, again, was here to give light until I had this guy, so I'll probably just put that downstairs. And then same thing for that light fixture. It's just there for now until I find a more permanent home for it. But, you know, we got our little hutch here. I just put kind of like food and cooking books and like all that stuff in here, since this is right next to the kitchen. So I feel it's more appropriate to have, you know, we got fermentation books, preservation, and just your general, you know, cookbooks and all that kind of stuff. And then I know it's kind of messy, but I'm just putting mason jars and fermentation supplies. I kind of keep them up here for now, just so, again, they're kind of near the kitchen, because I don't have any actual plates, china, that I want to show off. So, and then, you know, we just got some plants, you know, philodendron and Fernando Sr. here. He looks not great. He doesn't get as much TLC as Fernando Jr. upstairs, but he does have some new growth coming along, and he's fine. He'll grow a lot this summer. I just need to make sure, you know, these guys like to have soil, which this is a little bit dry. I gotta water you too, but kind of like to have soil that's a bit more moist at all times. So sometimes I do forget about that with ferns, and like misting them and all that kind of stuff helps a lot. But, you know, for now it's you know, that's the room. Yeah, this old table that you know, is very old. I don't know, it's like 60 or 70 years old. Eventually I'd like to refinish. You know, there's a lot of wear and tear on the chairs, the table itself, and then also like you know, I'd like to reupholster them at some point. I remember my dad reupholstering these many moons ago, but that's going to basically depend on whatever I end up painting this room. And then I'll think about, you know, reupholstering those chairs. But I also need to get the blinds up, the roller blinds that you saw earlier, because, you know, these guys are office chic. I'm not a huge fan of these ones. So the roller blinds will be nice though, because they give a bit of privacy, but they let the light in, which will be nice. Excuse me, for the plants, and we'll probably get some other decorations and things going on in here. But, you know, for now, you know, it works as a dining space, and so hopefully soon I'll get to actually host host some dinners and stuff now that I'm getting things settled a bit more. And yeah, don't mind this. This is a big old salad bowl, but I figured it's pretty looking too, so I've just got it set up there for now. But anyways, that's dining room. Also, yeah, flooring. Broken record, MALF. Carpet will get changed to something in the future, but at least it doesn't smell and it's clean, so it does the trick for now. Last category for the video. And this doesn't mean the last category in general. I'll probably add more stuff, certainly based on feedback. But as we're getting into other projects, but renovation, kind of really the structural stuff, the pretty intense stuff that we'll be working on. Right now, there's not really been any renovations going on as I've just been settling into the house. I think that's important, just to not jump the gun too much and start ripping walls down, ripping cupboards down, doing whatever else until I really get a feel for the house in general, and the layout and how I use it and how I move through it. And also, with the changing seasons, living in here in winter and now it's transitioning into spring, it's just going to be good to see, as things get wet, with spring rain and snow is melting and all that kind of stuff, right? You might unveil some issues that really need your attention. And so I'm trying not to just get, even though I'm very eager, I'm I'm holding back to make sure I don't do something and regret it. So, but that said, renovation, like the first thing we're gonna do, and I talked about this in the last video, but jacking up the floors. Any kind of significant renovations, I want to be working with a relatively level floor. Upstairs and here, there's obviously low points. The house was built approximately 1967. The joists are notched that settle on the foundation on either end, which is not ideal. So there's been ample time for things to settle a bit, and that's expected of a lot of older homes, right? So before I go putting in new flooring, even actually the molding, like the baseboard molding, if I want to put in kind of like crown molding or whatever, casing around doorways, all that kind of stuff, I want to make sure that I level the floor or jack it up a bit more before I do that. Because if I were to go ahead and paint this room, put in new molding all over, and then jack up the floors, we'll probably see some of the molding that was square and flush and 90 degrees at one point, as I'm lifting, it might it might go from 90 to 85 or something. I don't know, maybe that's a bit extreme, but basically you want to start from the foundation up when it comes to renovations or from the ground up. So that's something I'm going to be tackling towards the end of April, when other things settle down for me a little bit. I've got my 3-year Twitch or like full-time content creator anniversary is coming up this Friday. When is it? April 8th. So I kind of want to handle that and a few other things before I start getting into jacking up the floors. But that will be a multi-month endeavor probably, because you can only lift, like 1/8 of an inch per week is kind of nice, because you're making progress, but you're not moving things so much that things are cracking and just being, what's the word I'm looking for? You just don't want to shock the rest of the house too much. If you move it too much in a small amount of time, you might end up with a couple issues. So we'll be jacking it up about 1/8 of an inch per weekend for I don't know, a couple months. I'm thinking, the thing is, in some spaces upstairs, it seems it's about an inch and a half to maybe not quite 2 inches. It's settled in the center. So upstairs, right around the stairwell, which is also kind of like at the center of the house, that's where it's lowest. And then here, also kind of right beside the stairs, there's the one corner of the kitchen just to the right of me, which seems to be the low point. So, and that's, yeah, probably about an inch and a half that it's settled over the years. So, you multiply an eighth of an inch per weekend, you know, so that adds up. So that's something to do. And while I'm in that process, though, it gives me more time to think about, like, okay, like, what do I want to do when that is done? If I put in floors, it gives me time to think about what floors I'd like to do, or if I'm doing kitchen stuff, which probably won't be until next year, at the earliest, or bathroom stuff, just gives me time to do research on, like, okay, like, I want to go with these cabinets, or maybe tile flooring in the kitchen instead of wood flooring or whatever. I mean, right now we've got linoleum, so as far as I'm concerned, most things are better than that. But yeah, it'll be a good test of my patience as well. So yeah, that's something that I'll be getting started in the coming months, and then I'll show a video kind of that. But really, there's probably not going to be too much to show. We'll just be getting some 4x4s, and my dad's got a car jack that should do the trick and get the 4x4 cut to the right size so it's fits underneath. There's the previous owners did put in a header, and there are 4 floor jacks in place, and it looks like what they've done is just get the header in place and jacked it up just to kind of like meet the lowest floor joists, the one that have sagged the most, and then kind of left it. Because there's no evidence. I mean, if the house was sagging more than it is now, that would be kind of shocking. It looks like they just put that in place to prevent further sinking, which is still nice, and it makes my job easier because I don't need to worry about, like, putting in a header and getting a bunch of floor jacks. So at least it's more or less ready to go. But yeah, we'll be doing that in the near future. Yeah, so the only thing I would say that kind of does fall into the renovation category, you could also fit it in the efficiency one, but the toilet. I put in a new toilet. The old one, the flushing mechanism was problematic. It was kind of like a 50% chance it would flush, or it wasn't about flushing. It would flush, but it didn't always refill. So could have swapped the part, got a new one, but the toilet was older, and it wasn't very efficient. So I got the dual flush toilet, and that just makes it more efficient because you're using less water if you're just going pee. You don't need the big flush, and even the little flushes, honestly, I'm not like a big dude, that little TMI, but it's I don't need the big flush most of the time anyways, but it's nice to have it there in case, I guess I have visitors that just leave a bigger package. So but anyways, it's nice, and I got the bidet hooked up, so we'll go take a look at that. Okay, so this is the toilet. I know it's not like a super renovation, but I wanted to have something to show off. But yeah, the old one, if you saw the first video, you would have seen it, kind of matched all the other decor in here, which is very dated. It was kind of more of a brownie, light brown, tannish kind of color, which that I wasn't a fan of, but also just it was not working half the time, the flush mechanism, so this is nice. It's, like I said, a dual flush, so, if you just gotta flush a little bit of pee, you can use the left guy here, and then if you want the full flush, you can use the one on the right. The bidet, that doesn't come with the toilet. That's something I installed separately, but listen, I I like a clean butthole. It's good, and you use a lot less toilet paper, which is also good. And it's better all around. I'm telling you, the it's nice. I still need to set up because this one can do the hot water as well, the temperature, and the sink is right here. So all I have to do is drill, a little hole in there, and then get it hooked up to the hot water line and the sink. But that's not, to me, honestly, a huge priority. So I'll do that later. But that'll be a nice thing to have. What else? I mean, I think most newer toilets have the slow close, soft close lid, which is, I guess, nice. You don't have to worry about dropping it by accident in the middle of the night and waking somebody up. Not that I have to worry about that. Hashtag bachelor life. Oops, sorry, I'm running into the wall. But yeah. Also, this Hoya. This was a housewarming gift. Eventually, I'm actually gonna have this because you can hang it. I'm just gonna get a little like a little bracket thingy here and have it dangling here, because this is a south-facing window, so it gets a good amount of light, and these guys like light, but also like the humidity from being in a bathroom, so but they'll grow longer and dangly and all that kind of stuff, so yeah, but for now you just live there, and yeah, that's the toilet. Anything else? I mean, the install was pretty clean. You can see the old toilet, like that's some much older vinyl, laminate, whatever flooring underneath. So the old toilet kind of covered that up. But eventually, I'd like to reno the whole place here, or this whole bathroom. So there'll be, this fake tile that's not real tile. There'll be new flooring. Pretty much new everything, so, but this works for now. It works reliably, it's more efficient, just better in every way, so I'm a big fan. Okay, so that's gonna do it for this episode. Again, I apologize that it took longer to get it out there, but moving forward, as I'm just getting more comfortable and used to using the various cameras and technology and software and all the setup and the editing for this, it should mean that episodes come out more frequently. And yeah, we'll have ones that are much shorter than this episode and the previous episode as well. I know sometimes people see like, oh no, it's an hour long of Malf just talking about rambling. Maybe not the most exciting thing, but it's who I am. I can't change it. And some people like that. So, but that said, we should have more focused videos that aren't quite a marathon. And then yeah, we'll be getting a lot of gardening stuff coming up soon too, and we'll get some videos of that kind of stuff because I love it, and it, in my opinion, falls in line with the overall renovation of this house and the property, right? Because there's not really any greenery in the backyard or the front yard, and what is there is, especially in the front yard, is kind of beat up. So anyways, we'll have some gardening stuff, the floor getting jacked up, and a few other things going on soon, and I'm excited about that, so hopefully you are too. If you like this kind of video, this series, and you enjoy it, I do beg, for the likes, and if you want to see more and you're not subscribed, of course, subscribe, and that lets hopefully YouTube know to serve you the next video whenever it comes out, and yeah, but I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.